at the time, the most challenging thing is to get out of the way,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yeah. Because we have, our will comes up and we're like, that's what I'll notice. We had talked about this Becoming Fierce women's event that I did up in Estes Park.
Mhm.
And there was this time where, I'm like, okay, we could have 26 participants. And I noticed that I started getting really hooked on, oh my gosh, okay, I got to do this and this and this. And this many people have to come. And all of a sudden I wasn't enjoying the process. I had all this pressure and I had all this, I have to make these numbers. And at the time I only had 6 people signed up. So this was early on. And when I got what I was doing, I just kind of had to laugh and say, okay, I'm letting this go. I'm totally surrendering. Literally the next day, well, it was within 2 days. The next day I had 2 more people register. And then by the end of 2 days, I had doubled the people that had registered by letting it go, by not clinging to the result.
And to bring that back to the film, these are the kind of little nuggets that you provide through you and the group provide throughout the film that are so beneficial. And without ego, as you say, in a way, because we always have a little bit of ego for identity, I feel. There has to be a bit of it. So it's a tool, it has a purpose, but it's not as though any of you were like, I'm the best. At any point in the roundtable that I saw, there was no rising above or having to talk over each other or like, I have to push my point. Everyone was you gave space for everyone, but they all came with such unique points and built upon each other that it was like watching the best verbal tennis match that you could imagine. And
Well, thank you.
Compelled to just keep going and go, oh. And there was science, there was every avenue that was really and truly covered. So you brought together such an amazing group of people that came at it from very different perspectives, but honored every perspective. So
Thank you so much. And Amber, I'm so glad that you said that about the ego, because that's an important thing that I talk to my clients about. It's not that we have no ego, and that it's that we let go of the unhealthy aspects of ego, right? And I think that that's such an important part, because let's not, demonize our egos. And it's about that part of our ego that we have to check at the door, and that everyone did check when they came into this experience. And you're right. We had amazing thought leaders like Larry Dossey, who to me is just like one of the most amazing wisdom keepers and gentle souls who bring so much just wealth of wisdom and knowledge around connected consciousness and the one mind. And then we had, Stephanie Schwartz, who is a research scientist who's who in the world, who's worked with Leonard Nimoy and did the Deep Quest series, where they were doing remote viewing and research from his submarine. And then you go to George and Sedina Capinelli, who are these big PBS television and film producers, who are some of the most gracious, loving. Sedina's become one of my very best friends since the film. And since we all came together for that event. And then Misa Hopkins, who's just spiritual and deeply grounded in her tradition, part Cherokee Indian, Native American, And then, you think of Steve Behrman, who wrote Spontaneous Evolution with Bruce Lipton. So we just, had so many different people. I love that Barbara Dossey, Larry's wife, joined us, who's an amazing nurse and has a wealth of information, has had an amazing career. Jacob Lieberman, who we said, phenomenal. Steve's wife, Trudy, and then my dear friends, Solomon and Gabriella Masala, who just dynamite, energy, light. So many sparks.
And so many topics. And so that set the tone for the next phase. And the next phase, as you had mentioned, was some of the presentations. that you did for everyone else. And the unique thing, I would say, is that everyone who was at the round table stayed for the presentations.
Yeah.
Why was that?
Well, so it's so interesting because truly, one of the things, I love this, Jacob Lieberman says, we're all the same height. And what that means is, that there's no one of us that's more special or more important than the other. And so with them being in the audience, it was such an awareness, and they had never done that before, and so the presenters themselves were like, what an amazing, unique experience. And literally they came, we had a big dinner afterwards, and they were saying how amazing to hold that field of energy, to feel that, like, and that's why it's called When Sparks Ignite. They were ignited within them. And then to see that shared, and the audience just had, I mean, literally still to this day, I hear from people in the audience. We had about 150 people in the audience, and people saying that day changed my life.